Warning, the following contains anti-Semitic propaganda, racial slurs, and criminally stupid arguments from an avowed Groyper. Viewer discretion advised. Welcome everyone to Atheism 101. I'm your favorite bard, Korak the Bard, and today we're verbally punching Nazis. Recently I was hosting a live space when in walked little Johnny the Groyper, who obviously read the abridged version of the Proud Boys Manifesto and received negligent training at the hands of his Nazi elders.
He is an idiot. We have purposely trained him wrong, as a joke.
Now, I don't call people Nazis just because I disagree with them. I'm calling Johnny here a Nazi because he's a self-declaring, full-throated, 100% certified fresh fucking Nazi. Case in point, if you're unironically reposting Nick Fuentes, avowed Nazi and white supremacist, and post pro-Nazi propaganda on the largest social media platform that still allows such bullshit for some reason, you're a fucking Nazi. So,
Eat shit, Bob!
Now, when little Johnny first walked into your favorite bard's parlor, I had no idea who he was, other than someone who made really stupid arguments for their ill-defined God.
Observe.
Thank you. I joined because of the atheism in the title. I'm here to destroy all atheists.
Ooh.
Ominous!
Oh, a challenge. Unfortunately for you, little man, you caught this bard at the end of a night of heavy drinking and now face the return of Drunken Bard Master.
If you're here to destroy atheism, I am here for it. So lay it on me, bro.
So you're an atheist?
Yes, I'm an anti-theist and an atheist. So go ahead. Destroy atheism for me. Make me a believer.
Well, that's not exactly what I said.
Ruh-roh, already the Jaws music begins to play in the back of my mind as this young piece of flotsam just said not 20 seconds prior,
I'm here to destroy all atheists.
This does not bode well for you, Junior.
So you're, it's funny you say the burden of proof is on me. So let me explain to you how it's not. Are you a Gnostic or agnostic atheist?
I'm a hard atheist and an anti-theist.
So are you claiming that God is not real for sure?
I don't think gods exist. I could be wrong about it, but I haven't received any evidence that proves otherwise.
Okay, so it's self-defeating to be an atheist, even agnostic.
How do you figure?
Well, in order to say that I am an atheist, you have to assume that there's an I to believe that you're an atheist. And then you have to assume that it follows that you have belief. So how do you prove your own existence?
Oh, well, I assume I exist because I'm standing in my apartment. And if I am not standing in my apartment and I'm a brain in a vat, well, then so be it. But that doesn't prove that there's a God. So if you're trying to argue for a God, tell me what God you're arguing for.
I'm just trying to get you to justify your agnosticism. So how do you know you exist?
No. Hang on. That's not how this works. If you're suggesting there's a God, then go ahead and make the case for your God. But if you're going to come to me and say, well, you're an atheist, that means your worldview is not objective or what the fuck ever. That's not the argument. If you're arguing that there is a God, make an argument for that God.
Spoiler alert, he does not make an argument for his God.
Do you believe that there's a God?
Well, I think that's a subversion of the goalpost. I've never said I'm arguing for theism.
Just answer the question. It's a yes or no question. Do you believe there's a God?
I believe there's a God, yes, but that's not the point I'm making right now.
That's not the point? You're here to destroy atheism, but talking about your God isn't the point? How the fuck does that work? If you prove there's a God, then atheism is pretty much destroyed. But little Johnny here has a presuppositionalist script hot off the press, and he's bound and determined to use it.
Well, that's not the point. If you're going to destroy atheism, you can't destroy atheism by saying that there's not a God. So if you're here to claim that there's a God, then tell me what the God is.
Philosophy is a little bit more nuanced than that. That it is. So you say that I'm an atheist, so prove that I exist. Who is the I? That is you.
I don't need to prove existence. All I need to do is reject the evidence that somebody says that there's a God. And I say, I don't believe that evidence, therefore I'm an atheist. So if you have evidence for a God, then by all means present it.
During my conversations with a variety of theists, I've managed to gain a sort of sixth sense when it comes to dealing with presuppositionalists. Folks whose dogma boils down to, God is real and I can't possibly be wrong about this fact because God told me so and he told you too, so if you don't believe, you're just lying to yourself. But depending on your interlocutor, it can take forever to get to this point, like creeping up in the Thetan level or whatever the fuck they're selling you out of the back of a Scientology van. The point is, if you declare there is a God, then that's a claim for which you bear the burden of proof. Not only does Johnny Boy here not understand that, but he can't even get off first base on what reality is, what the burden of proof is, or which God he's talking about.
Well, in the sentence saying "I am not an atheist," you include the word "I," correct?
I am an atheist, yes. And that means me.
So I'm gonna need you to prove that I exist in order for the syllogism in the sentence to
I don't need to
follow.
prove shit. An atheist is simply somebody who rejects the idea that there's a God because of lack of evidence. So if you have evidence for a God, present it. Otherwise, you're just coming to me saying, well, you're not really an atheist because of XYZ. Well, no, that's not the point. The point is, if you're suggesting there's a God, then you now have the burden of proof. So are you suggesting there is a God?
Yes, I will
Okay,
make an argument positively for God, but
great.
um,
Which God?
I,
Which one?
but before I will do that, but I want to ask you one last question, and then I'll do that. Okay?
Get used to this. Poor Johnny was cursed by a witch at a young age and is forever unable to answer questions with anything but more questions.
Do you have faith that you exist?
No, I see evidence for the fact that I exist, and it is measurable in the objective reality that I exist in. And if there is a God responsible for that, I'd love to hear an argument for it. So, do you have an argument for a God?
Okay. Well, what I would say is, how can you prove objective reality? And
Do you have an argument for a God or not?
I do. I mean, we could shift the
Okay,
goalposts. We could put the
make the
burden of
argument.
proof on me, but I'm just saying
So the burden
atheism
of proof
actually
is
does have
on
the burden
you.
of proof as
Hang
well.
on. Here's how the burden of proof works. I'm not making an assertion. You are. If you're suggesting there's a God, that's your assertion. That's your burden of proof. I have nothing to prove here. So go ahead and prove your God.
At this point, it was obvious that Johnny wasn't interested in answering questions, so my friend Melancholy chimed in with this zinger that left poor Johnny absolutely stumped, while I cackled like a drugged up joker in the background. This is what happens when a dumbass Groyper is presented with the same dumbass questions he asks.
You're a dumbass. Dumbass!
Okay, so John, you say you believe that a God exists, correct?
Well, at first I didn't,
Yes or no? It's a
but
yes or
I
no
do.
question.
Okay, well, I got to answer the yes or no questions. Okay, I'll answer the questions. Yes, I do believe God exists.
Prove to me that you think that.
Prove to you that I think that.
Prove to me that you think a God exists.
Well, I can give you evidence, but I can't give you 100%.
No. Prove to me
evidence
that you think a God exists.
Prove to you that God exists, or prove to you that I think God
No,
exists.
prove to you that you think that.
Do you hear the words he's saying? Prove to me that you think a God exists. Prove
Oh,
it.
sure, yeah. So I can actually justify my being by saying
No.
You're not
I'm
going to
asking, prove to
justify
me
your
that you
being.
think a God exists.
Okay, so how can one think that God exists? They have to exist, right?
Yeah,
Prove to
okay.
me that you think God exists.
I understand the question. I'm trying to explain, right? So
Okay, let him cook. Let him
prove.
cook. Go ahead. It's all the floor is yours, man. Take it.
I don't know where exactly he's going with that. I don't know if he thinks he's flipping my logic on my
Well,
head, but
if
it doesn't really
somebody asked
follow.
me, hang on, let me help you out. If somebody asked me, prove that you're an atheist, I'd be like, well, I don't believe a God exists. That's all I have to offer you. If you think I'm lying, then prove that I'm lying. Otherwise, you have to take me at your word. So prove to me that you believe in a God.
Well, and I'll get to an answer. I would say that, well, for one, to prove to you that I believe it, I have to first prove that I exist. I would say that I
No, you don't.
exist.
You don't. You can do what I just did and say, I believe in God, and here's why. And here's the God that I believe in. So let me just hand it over to you. You tell me which God you believe in and why. Go ahead, pitch me your God.
Well, I'll argue for a God. I won't argue for specific religion to start off, because
Wait
I
for
think
a
it's
wait,
best.
hang on, hang on. Let me just be clear. You're going to argue for a God, but not a specific God. So what are the properties of a God?
You don't have to point out the properties of something to prove it exists, right? You don't have to know all of its
You know?
qualities to claim it
No,
exists, right?
you kind of do. If you say that a horse exists, and I say, what are the properties of a horse? You could describe the properties of a horse, right?
Here we have a person, as you're about to see, who cannot answer the simple question of whether or not they can describe the properties of a horse, which I've been able to do ever since I was given this handy little learning tool at a young age.
The horses on the farm say neigh, neigh, neigh.
You could describe the properties of a horse, right?
I couldn't describe all of its organs and all of its properties.
Oh, but you could describe some properties of a horse to make it descriptive so that I could picture what a horse looks like, yes?
Sure, yeah, exactly. I
Okay.
could describe some
So
things about God, but
so
very few.
tell me the properties of your God. Describe it to me. What is your God?
I can tell. Well, I haven't met God, but I can tell you that through His works, I'm able to know that He's real.
That's not a property. Describe the properties of your God. What does it do? Like how to identify your God?
He's all powerful. There's one. Is that a good property? He's all powerful.
No, that's not a good property. 4 legs, 2 eyes, 1 tail. Those are proper descriptors for something that exists and can be measured. All powerful is a fantasy term for the master of the universe. Johnny Boy then moved into the infamous unmoved mover argument, which I've heard 1,000 times before and is simply a special pleading fallacy. Everything had a cause, except God, whoever that is.
So I asked you
example.
to identify and give me properties of your God, and you say he's an unmoved mover and he's all powerful. Is that it?
Yeah, and he's able. He also created abstracts that are not only abstracts; they're real abstracts. So, do you
Wow.
believe that love is only a chemical?
Wait, so your God invented abstracts. What proof do you have for this? Because these are just claims, and that's all we got so far. So tell
Well,
me why you believe that God exists and how you know that. What proof do you have?
sure. So hold on. Let me get my list out. Let me get my notes. So, I would say that because because God invented love, morality, logic, truth, reality,
These are
it would
just
have
more
to.
assertions. These are only assertions. I'm asking for proof.
I'm saying these things couldn't exist without God.
Okay, again, that's an assertion. And these things couldn't exist without Lisa the Rainbow Giraffe.
Leave be upon her.
That's my assertion. Now, how do we figure out who's right?
Well, we have to investigate it, right? So, how could
Okay.
how could morality exist absent God? Do you believe morality exists?
Morality, like love, are concepts we invented, none of which require a divine guiding hand. And I'm still waiting on any evidence that these concepts were created by an as yet unnamed all-powerful God.
That's a long wait for a train don't come.
Okay. So your argument is God exists because we have morality?
Yes, we couldn't have objective morality without God. Otherwise, it would just be our opinion. So, are you
No.
more
That's
relativist or non-cognitivist
that's
or cognitivist?
that's where we disagree. I don't think there is objective morality. Can you prove to me that there is objective morality and that comes from the creator of the universe somehow?
Because rape is always wrong, regardless of our opinion.
Is it always wrong in the Old Testament?
See, so so the properties of your
Who
God
said
are he's
anything
all
about the Old
powerful
Testament?
and he invented morality and rape is wrong and therefore God. If that's the best argument you got, you're barking up the wrong fucking tree, my friend.
Is rape sometimes okay?
Hey,
No,
John, is it
rape is
okay to
never
be a
okay.
Nazi?
Here's the thing. No. Let me answer that fully. Rape is never okay. It's always wrong. And I determine that without the benefit of a God because your God, I'm assuming you're a Christian. Tell me if I'm wrong. Are you a Christian?
Mm, I'm
Okay,
not.
fuck you.
Are you a
I'm in a
Jew?
Fuck you.
conversion.
No, tell
I'm
the truth.
Fuck
Are you a
you.
Jew?
converting. I'm
Fuck
converting.
you.
I think you're a Jew,
Fuck
right?
you. Don't tell me.
I'm
Are you a
converting.
Christian? Yes or
I'm
no?
converting.
You're converting to what? Christianity, Catholicism, Lutheranism, what? Seventh Day Adventist? What are you converting to?
Well, I'm non-denominational. I'm learning.
Okay.
I don't even know the religion yet, so how could I claim to be it?
Well, you're the one coming in here with your claims. So
Well,
if
I
I
can be
ask
a
you on your
theist,
claims
right?
and
I
you
can be
say,
a
"Well, I
theist
don't
without being
know,"
a
and
certain sect.
You could be a theist, or you could just tell us.
yeah, you
I'm a
could just
theist. That's a position.
you're you're a theist who believes in which God? The God of the Bible?
Hold on. I don't have to pick a certain sect. I'm saying I'm a theist. That is a position.
Right. So you're a theist that believes in which God?
Cool. So you believe in Poseidon?
Right. Is it Zeus? Is it Odin? Which God?
No. He believes in Poseidon. Can you have a chat with Poseidon
Okay.
and tell him
Let,
to make sure that it's a sunny day tomorrow around I am? I've got a fishing trip
right.
planned.
Hey, let's not get too crazy. He's a new convert who just converted to Poseidonism. So let's give him room to breathe.
Okay,
Tell
now
us
fair
about
enough.
your
Fair
God.
enough.
Well, I'm sorry. Was there a question there at the end?
Yes, I asked you to tell us more about your God.
Well, I don't know much about him. I know that he's all powerful, and I know that he's created morality among other things. But I can't tell you. First of all, let me ask you a good question, right?
Well, there's a first time for everything, but sadly, Johnny Groyper wouldn't get an opportunity to ask any more questions because another attendee at the live space brought in breaking news. That's right, folks. Straight from the QNN Korak News Network broadcast desk, this just in: Johnny the Groyper is an avowed Nazi. And here I thought we got rid of those nasty krauts after D-Day. Well, just like when using low-quality toilet paper, you can expect a few stragglers to get left behind. Which brings us to today's sponsor, Korak the Bard's Ass Wipes. Do you have a nagging Nazi sensation that you just can't get rid of? Well, with today's new and improved formula, Korak the Bard's Ass Wipes make sure every piece of filthy fascist trash is removed in one fluid motion. That's Korak the Bard's Ass Wipes. We take out all the Nazi trash. Inquire at patreon.com/Korak the Bard for more details. And now we take you back to the action in the Bard's Chateau.
Hey, I'm sorry. I gotta jump in. I can't listen to this fucking guy John anymore. His entire timeline is fucking Nazi shit and hating Jews.
And now, dear viewer, I present the only appropriate response upon learning that someone is a Nazi and they are in your presence.
Fuck you, you little fucking Nazi little bitch.
Okay, I am now authorizing everybody to pile on John. This is no longer a discussion. Please take your shots.
Seriously, I'm pretty close to blackout drunk at this point, and I'm still talking circles around this clown.
Oh, okay. I just shit myself. Okay, later.
We then proceeded to roast Johnny's dumb Nazi ass for a while, and he left us with this parting shot.
Jews hate you too, my friend. What, far more than you think.
Okay.
Well, there you have it. Turns out Little Miss Clanhood here doesn't just make abominable arguments for an ill-defined god while stumbling through the presuppositionalist playbook, but he's also a
Son of a beast! Why the does all this shit happen to me?
Jace, please.
Sorry, Captain. My scat is acting a bit chunky.
You warthog-faced buffoon.
With a goddamn pig!
Nazi-ass Groyper and a coward to boot. Now, after that impressive string of insults and vicious mockery, you may be wondering why I landed on coward for the finale. Well, it's because following this debate that he claims he won, he hosted a live space of his own where he proudly said with his whole big boy chest, racial slur after racial slur. For someone who sounds like he's still a few weeks shy of having his first chin hair peach fuzz, he's definitely not shy about brazenly using the N-word. But after the space concluded, where he threw out slurs like he was giving away candy from a Thanksgiving Day parade float, he deleted it in shame. But worry not, dear viewer, for like any good bard, I have various contacts in the online underworld swamp known as Twitter, some more nefarious than others, and I was able to obtain this recording before it was deleted. Do note, as a bard dedicated to the beauty of language, I never censor my curse words, for they add to the spice of anyone's vernacular. However, I refuse to use slurs, not because they are taboo, but because they are steeped in hatred, designed only to wound the vulnerable. I consider the fact that black people have reclaimed the word once used to subjugate them and made it their own as a great poetic justice of history. And as such, when a milquetoast, shit-eating, donkey-fucking, backwards-ass,
Cheap, lying, no good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant,
punk-ass Nazi bitch uses slurs, my blood absolutely boils. My point being, the only words you'll hear censored on my channel are slurs because I find them personally detestable. So what you're about to hear are several minutes of this childish,
heartless,
misogynist, degenerate,
bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped,
Shit-kicking, stinky horse-smelling motherfucker.
broke-brained Nick Fuentes Nazi ball-fondling piece of shit throwing out the N-word like he's the mayor of N-word town and he's bribing prospective voters with N-word tokens. So every censoring bleep you're about to hear rhymes with bigger.
Why do you I don't want to open up a huge can of worms, but like I'm sort of surprised that you seem thoughtful and you believe in God, you believe in objective morality. I'm surprised that you would be retweeting the N-word when it seems to me that someone who believes in God and believes in objective morality would be very thoughtful about the consequences of your words and actions. Why would a thoughtful guy like you tweet a hurtful word like that when you should be more thoughtful than someone like me? Like, I'm an atheist and I don't believe in objective morality, and I wouldn't do that, right? I'd be very thoughtful about that.
Good question. I'll answer it. First of all, I believe that it is a sin to hate. If you define racism as hating another race, then I believe, yes, that is a sin. I don't think you should hate people. As for nigger, nigger is just a word that has heavy connotation and shame towards it, and I don't accept the reason for why that is. reason for why that is because minority and multiculturalism has been, what's the word for it, pedestalized for very specific reasons uh, by our government and among other governments, and it's not. And also, I hate Enlightenment principles, but multiculturalism and the idea of shaming slurs. And I'm not when I say nigger, I don't say I hate black people. I just say it usually as a joke, right? So, I don't agree with adding heavy shame to that word because the people that do that, the people who run these articles, the people that cancel people for that, are actually really evil people that do evil things.
John, quick question for you about it. Okay.
What's up?
You said that on the one hand, you said that the issue, you contest whether the word itself should have a kind of prohibitive moral valence. That's part of what you said. And then the second thing you said was that you were using it ironically, which is interesting, as in to mean that you do distance yourself from it. You're not fully embracing the term. Right. So explain. So is it because you think there's something inherent in the term that could be prohibitive,
It
or you
depends on
don't
how
think
you use
so?
the
You think
word,
that's
right?
a
If you use it like
right.
I hate all niggers, yeah,
Uh-huh.
that would be sinful, and that would be against my
Okay.
Christian
What about
ethics,
just
right?
calling a group? What is that without explanation? Calling a group of people in public that out loud, without explanation.
No, I don't think that's morally wrong. No.
Okay, kiddo, I would love to give you the opportunity to
Test your might
and show me your true moral fiber by taking a tour with me through my favorite haunts of Brooklyn, where you can throw that word around just like you do as an anonymous assbag on Twitter. I'll even pay for your plane ticket so that you can witness firsthand the find out portion that follows your fucking around.
We should ask ourselves, why is it so heavily shamed? Why should we add so much context to that word? Why should we be disgusted when we hear the word? Well, that's purposeful. People have made that connotation on purpose, and we should ask why, right? We shouldn't just give words their value for no reason.
Pity that Django Unbrained here still needs a history lesson about why slurs aren't acceptable in serious big boy conversations. Fortunately, there was an adult in the room. My good friend Make Lying Wrong Again tried to straighten out this Hitler youth.
Okay.
You don't think the reason why is because that word was used to dehumanize people as chattel slaves and separate parents from their children and separate men and women from their wives and husbands, and they were brutalized and
Yeah, but
treated
do I
like
support
cattle?
those things, or am I just a Gen Z guy like fucking around saying like just for fun?
Well, I think you're immature for saying that just for fun, because you know that will make other people think of those things and you don't care.
Well, you realize, so you just let the
That's
zeitgeist
not very
control your
ethical.
vocabulary?
The zeitgeist doesn't control my vocabulary, but I
If
think you're not in
everybody
control of your
tomorrow,
vocabulary if you use those words.
If everybody tomorrow decided that the word, let's say, Twitter has been shameful because there's been horrible rhetoric on Twitter that's pushed horrible things, should I just stop saying Twitter because they say so?
No, you shouldn't stop saying because they say so, but you should stop saying it if there was a history of people using the word Twitter to dehumanize people as chattel slaves. Yeah, I think you should.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from. I just I don't agree.
Like, why would
with the people
like
that
I have a
apply connotation
9-year-old
to
I have
it.
a 9-year-old in third grade. Should she say that word in school?
Well, she should be aware of the consequences. I would never want your daughter to get hurt, or your son, whoever it was. I didn't catch that, but
But should she say
Right.
why shouldn't she say it? I mean, why should the zeitgeist determine what a third grader says, right?
well, I wouldn't want her to get
Don't you see
harmed.
how
That's
that's
what I
flawed?
said. I don't think it's immoral. I wouldn't want her to get harmed.
Wait a minute, you think someone could get hurt for using racial slurs in public? Huh.
Why is that, do you think?
Could it be that, as I described earlier, it's a word only intended to inflict harm, and in so inflicting, you're aware that the pushback could be instinctive, visceral, and potentially violent? And yet you persist because you know you can hide behind your milquetoast, whiny-ass piss baby,
worm-headed sack of monkey shit!
4chan raised Hills Have Eyes proto-human facade on a platform that welcomes your ilk. It's a wonder that the only advertiser left on this right-wing shit show is
Depends for racists! If you pee a little every time you see a Mexican, you need Depends for racists.
Now onto the morality of shouting racial slurs at people.
Let's say she's in my car and there's other kids outside my car and there's no risk of her getting harmed. Should she roll down the window and shout that word?
Well, my instincts would be no, because there's still a small chance of her getting harmed the next day at school. But you say all future harm, any harm disregarded, I would say, yeah, that'd be fucking hilarious. And it would
So
also
it's interesting because
push back against the current zeitgeist.
So here's here's what's interesting. We just had a conversation in which you guys were saying, hey, the atheist view or the godless view or whatever is a view just about consequences and whether or not you're going to get harmed. Like that monkey wasn't really moral because it just didn't want to get its ass kicked. Now you're saying you don't care about hurting other people's feelings. You just don't want to get your ass kicked. And so you're behaving like the monkey, aren't you?
Well, hold on. I'm behaving. Well, it's not against my ethics to say. It's,
Take your time.
My ethics is it's not against my ethics. But yes, do they act accordingly to?
Why? But it's not against your ethics because you don't care that you're harming other people. That's not ethics.
Well,
That's
I'm
just
not,
being
I'm
a
not
jerk.
a utilitarian, so I don't ground my ethics in harm.
And here we come to the crown jewel of the conversation, where the inbred love child of Darth Dawkins and David Duke informs us as to why certain words have been stigmatized.
The reason why the reason why you can say cracker all day, nobody scoffs, and the reason why you say and people scoff, it's not because of just slavery. It's because of Jews pedestalizing minorities in order to to get white replacement.
There you have it, folks. Jews are responsible for slurs in our society. I can't even say it with a straight face. Oh, let me try it again. Here we go. Jews are responsible. Oh, shit. Moving on. We've reached a barbershop quartet of terrible. We've got racism, anti-Semitism, aggressively blind ignorance, and good old-fashioned white privilege. This asshole posts Nazi shit, but I get suspended from Twitter for using the word cis. Thanks, Apartheid Clyde. Bang up job. So, my dear little John, you say you won your last debate with me, while my recollection as presented in this video went a little more like this.
Please stop! Wimplo sucks as a fighter. A child could beat him.
Well, I'm gonna count to 3, and if I hear one more friggin' squeak, I'm gonna take his shoes and shove him up.
So how's about going for round 2, Wimplo? And this time I'll take the kitty gloves off.
Face to foot style. How'd you like it?
Come show me that Aryan might, while I laugh as it crumbles under the weight of your stupidity, racism, and anti-Semitism. Keep it tuned right here on Atheism 101, and I'll keep you posted if Johnny Boy grows some great big old brass balls to face your favorite bard in another debate. And this time we'll narrow down the topic a bit. Instead of having some amorphous subject and an impromptu live space, we can narrow the debate down to the following. Are Groyper Nazi fascist troll pieces of shit a drain on society, and should they be given a platform on which to spread their idiotic hatred? On the likely chance that Johnny's not intelligent enough to figure out which side of that line I stand on, I'll make it very plain. Yes, Groyper Nazi fascist troll pieces of shit are a drain on society, and they should not be given a platform on which to spread their idiotic hatred. Prove me wrong, bitch. If you thought round 1 was a victory, then I can't wait to show you what happens when I take the kid gloves off now that I know you're a Nazi in advance.
I'm bleeding, making me the victor.
In fact, you're such a vile, shit-eating, grin-wearing, narrow-minded, short-sighted,
Cheap, lying, no good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed,
Shit-kicking, stinky horseman-horse-smelling motherfucker.
worm-headed sack of monkey shit.
Warthog-faced buffoon.
4chan raised an all-round nasty little kid who either got beaten too much by his stepfather or not enough, I can't tell which. But you've qualified for a special honor. Korak the Bard's Forbidden Virgin Mind Trap. I haven't had to cast this spell in ages, and it's an ancient eldritch enchantment, but I'm dusting it off just for you, Johnny. The Forbidden Virgin Mind Trap centers around the fact that incel Groyper whiny-ass piss-baby wannabe giga-chad alpha males have never known the touch of a woman, and have no means in which to allure one. And thankfully so, for the last thing we need are these ghouls procreating. Fortunately for you, Johnny, there's no shame in paying for sex even if you think it's immoral. And it's likely the only way you're ever going to get laid, whether through coercion, transaction, or whatever more questionable means you may use. If you finally do get to know the touch of a woman, you're going to have a moment where you think, ha ha ha, my favorite bard Korak the Bard was wrong. I can get laid. Congratulations.
You activated my trap card. Oh boy!
You've activated the mind trap as you realize with dawning horror that you're fucking a woman while you're thinking about me. Welcome to Korak the Bard's Forbidden Virgin Mind Trap. Enjoy. To all the theists watching this channel for some reason, these are the people on your side, you Republican Christians. You may not all be Nazis, but there are plenty of Nazis among you. And if you're a Christian who finds Nazis detestable, please ask yourself, why are you on the same side as this garbage? What is it about your ideology that attracts conspiracy theory spitting, Trump apologizing, Alex Jones worshipping, Andrew Taint munching Nazis? Food for thought, folks. Until next time, remember, violence is never the answer, but verbally curb stomping a shitbag, douche nozzle, racist ass fascist is a-okay in the Bardic Book of Verbal Jiu-Jitsu.
Now we know.
And knowing is half the battle.
Thanks for watching, and thanks to my beautiful patrons for supporting the show. If you'd like your own personalized theme song as well as exclusive and early access to your favorite bard, come visit me at patreon.com/KorakTheBard. And remember, under every cosplaying SS uniform wearing Gestapo wannabe mini Hitler is a sad, petty little coward. Pay them no mind other than to tell them to go fuck themselves. This is your favorite bard, Korak the Bard, singing off with a Nazi rode into the town and readied for a fight. He came to destroy atheists and crush them with his might. But then he saw your favorite bard enjoying his favorite drink, and that's where Johnny failed to think. Don't take your hood to town, John. Leave the clan at home, kid. The bard will take you down.